You're listening to Four Things to Know, a WCCO daily news podcast.
Today is Friday, January 30th. I'm Johnny Connor. Thanks for listening to Four Things to Know. There is a ton of news to get to today. Let's get started with our top story. The Justice Department has opened a federal civil rights probe into the death of Alex Pretti. That's according to Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche. He says the DOJ is looking at everything that would shed light on that day. The Department of Homeland Security said earlier today that the FBI is now leading the investigation into Pretti's death, taking over from an ICE investigation unit. And also today, President Trump responded to video taken days before Alex Pretti was killed by Border Patrol agents. The video shows Pretti shouting at federal agents, then spitting and kicking out a taillight on an unmarked SUV. In a post online this morning, the president called Pretti an agitator and perhaps insurrectionist whose stock has gone way down after the new video was released. Trump also called Pretti's actions a display of abuse and anger. Through an attorney, the Pretti family said, quote, "Nothing that happened a full week before could possibly have justified Alex's killing at the hands of ICE on January 24th. And another nationwide protest also planned for today. Organizers called for a day of no school, work, or shopping to protest ICE. It's inspired by the protest that happened in Minneapolis last week on Friday. That's when tens of thousands of demonstrators marched through downtown and hundreds of businesses closed. Another march in Minneapolis also planned for this afternoon as well. And that brings us to number 2 today. A prominent journalist among 4 new people arrested in connection to a church protest. Don Lemon was arrested last night in Los Angeles. He's expected in federal court today. The Justice Department claims Lemon was part of a protest that disrupted a church service nearly 2 weeks ago in St. Paul. One of the pastors there was David Easterwood. He also works for ICE. Lemon said he was not part of the protest, but instead was covering it as a journalist. Last week, a judge refused to sign off on charges against him. Independent journalist Georgia Fort was also arrested today. Members of the local journalism community, like Harry Colbert Jr. of the Center for Broadcast Journalists, say this should be a wake-up call.
Georgia Fort is in federal custody for doing her job. Journalism is under attack.
Yeah.
The First Amendment is under attack.
Yeah.
And democracy is crumbling.
Just last week, a prominent civil rights attorney and 2 other people involved in the protest were also arrested. In a statement, Lemon's lawyer wrote that, in part, quote, "The First Amendment exists to protect journalists whose role it is to shine light on the truth and hold those in power accountable. There is no more important time for people like Don to be doing this work." Your third thing to know today, it appears Luigi Mangione will avoid the death penalty. A judge today dismissed a federal murder charge, barring prosecutors from seeking execution. Mangione has pleaded not guilty to federal and state murder charges for killing United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. He still does face life in prison if convicted. The judge also ruled today that evidence seized during Mangione's arrest will be admissible in his federal trial. That means a 3D printed handgun, loaded magazine, notebook, map, and survival kit will be shown in court. His lawyers argued it was a warrantless search that got the evidence, but police testified in court that it's standard procedure to grab property like a backpack from a suspect during an arrest. Number 4 today, it was a huge day in Minnesota sports today. Let's start with the Vikings. They have fired general manager Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah. He was hired in 2022 along with head coach Kevin O'Connell. The team also signed Adolfo-Mensah to a contract extension less than a year ago. His firing comes less than a month after the Vikings end to the regular season. The team's ownership said in part in a statement that these decisions are never easy. We are grateful for Kwesi's contributions and commitment to the organization over the past 4 years, and we wish him and his family the best in the future. Vikings ownership added that team vice president Rob Brzezinski will lead football operations through the draft. After the draft in April, the team will hire a GM. Vikings fans' biggest gripe with Adolfo Mensa has always been his draft picks. The team has had a few notoriously bad drafts under his watch. Obviously, through the draft is how you get young talent in the NFL. Young talent is king to winning games. The Athletic also reported that this decision from the team follows an offseason that saw differences of opinion on free agency and trade acquisitions from Vikings management. And obviously, it probably can't help that former Vikings quarterback Sam Darnold, now playing for the Seahawks in the Super Bowl. This comes as the Vikings were eliminated from the playoffs about a month before they even began. And oh, wait, there's more. Who's going to play quarterback for the Vikings next year? Will they go with J.J. McCarthy again, bring in a veteran, all the above, and have a competition? There's just a lot of questions right now for the Purple. So that was still a big surprise today, though. I did not see that coming this late into the offseason, it feels like. The Twins also in the news today. We'll get to them in a few minutes. Those are your top 4 things to know today. Now let's check in on that cold weather.
Quiet and cold continues to be the theme. Hey guys, thanks for the meteorologist Adam Del Rosso checking in. Temperatures will be falling back through the single digits and barely getting below 0 for our low temperatures tonight. Little bit of a breeze that's going to have those wind chills closer to 10 below as we kick off our Saturday. More sunshine with us as high pressure is still going to be in control with winds shifting out of the south. They're not going to be terribly fast, but enough of a wind direction change to get us into the upper teens for our high temperatures tomorrow. I know I sound excited about that. That's still below average, but we're turning in the right direction. By Sunday, we'll be in the 20s, and that's when we'll see our next shot of light snow that generally accumulates just an inch or 2 across the area.
And now, here's more to know.
Almost since the time ICE arrived in Minnesota, protesters have been gathering at the Whipple building in Minneapolis. That's been the headquarters for federal agents. Today, those protesters were joined by dozens of clergy and community leaders as part of a faith-based rally. John Lauritsen has the update.
In addition to clergy, we've seen a lot of educators, regular protesters. People have been out here almost every day. And a lot of people we've seen and we've talked with have come from out of state to be here. Organizers say they wanted to have a rally at the Whipple building this morning in response to the Trump administration announcing the prosecution of community volunteers acting as observers of ICE behavior. People here say they are standing in solidarity with the 22 Minnesotans that the federal government is prosecuting. They say they are also here to protest the killings of Renee Good and Alex Pretti. But some of the clergy and faith-based members we talked to say their reasons for being here may be a little different than others.
Can we work together for a better outcome? And I do have faith. Otherwise, I might as well sit home. Look at me. I might as well be sitting on my couch and not freezing today. But I got faith. I got hope that better days are ahead and we can do it together. We need everybody.
I just want everybody to stay safe. And Minnesota's strong. This community is the most amazing thing I've ever witnessed in my life. It's absolutely beautiful.
A local school district is warning parents after reports of federal agents on a school bus route. Richfield Schools sent a message to parents and staff that says federal agents were on a middle school bus route yesterday afternoon. The district says administrators were notified and leadership went to the bus to make sure those students were safe. We have reached out to the district for more info, but we are waiting to hear back. And another school district will be offering remote learning for students who are afraid to leave home. St. Louis Park is closing its schools on Monday and Tuesday for teachers to prepare for that e-learning possibility. Minneapolis and St. Paul public schools also offer this option. And as the public faces of Operation Metro Surge change with border czar Tom Homan now in Minneapolis taking over for Greg Bovino, the detainments continue. One mother in Columbia Heights tells WCCO that ICE agents told her she was under arrest as she came out to heat up her car yesterday morning. She says that she pleaded with them to let her go, knowing she's the only one left to take care of her young children. ICE detained her husband 3 weeks ago. Here's more from that mother.
We left Ecuador because my country was taken over by gangs and dangerous people. They are killing innocent people, children and families. I immigrated with my brother, and after some time, I was able to bring the rest of my family to be with us.
She says ICE let her go only after she was told that she wasn't their target. Instead, ICE took away her father. We are still waiting for more information from ICE on this. To more sports headlines, Lindsey Vohn's Olympic comeback may have hit a big speed bump today. In Switzerland, she crashed at the end of her final downhill race before heading to Italy. Devastating. Vohn lost control when landing a jump and ended up tangled in the safety nets. She then was airlifted from the course to get checked out. We're waiting to see how this may impact her Olympics. Now, Vohn, as you know, grew up right here in Minnesota. She's 41 years old now, in the midst of an incredible comeback after years of retirement. She's also skiing with a partial titanium implant in her right knee. Vohn's first race of the Olympics is supposed to be just over a week away on February 8th. She did later take to Instagram, though, writing that if there's one thing I know how to do, it's a comeback. My Olympic dream is not over. So definitely good sign there. She says she will share more information when she has it. And I mentioned the Twins a few minutes ago. We do have some baseball news in January. The Twins and president of baseball and business operations, Derek Falvey, mutually agreed to part ways. That's according to the team today. That is a big deal. I'll give you some background here. Falvey began with the team back in 2016. He was just promoted last March. So clearly there's been some sort of disconnect since then. Executive Chair Tom Pohlad said, quote, "Over the past several weeks, Derek and I had thoughtful and candid conversations about leadership, structure, and the future of the club. We reached a shared understanding that the needs of the organization are evolving and that a leadership transition is the best way to move forward." The team said current GM Jeremy Zoll will now oversee baseball operations. And there's been a lot of change recently with the Twins. First came the news last year that the Pohlad family pulled the franchise off the market more than 10 months after putting the team up for sale. That angered many fans who've wanted them to sell for a long time, hoping a new ownership group would infuse money to the payroll. But after the Pohlads took the team off the market, they then brought in new limited partners to help them pay down hundreds of millions of dollars in debt. And there's also a new manager in Derek Shelton after the team fired Rocco Baldelli this offseason. And all of that combined with a team that's just expected to not be very good. It's going to be interesting to see attendance figures this year. Remember, last year was the lowest ever attended season at Target Field. It was also the Twins' lowest full season attendance anywhere since 2000 at the Metrodome. Lot of stuff going on in Twins territory right now, and it doesn't sound too promising. Spring training just 3 weeks away.
It's time to take a breath with your Daily Bright Spot.
A first-of-its-kind college housing program in Minnesota is also a pet-friendly residence hall. Yeah, you heard that right. Gustavus Adolphus College going to the dogs and cats. Starting in the upcoming fall semester, Prairie View Hall will offer students in their second year and beyond to bring their furry friends to campus. It's the first pet-friendly campus in the state. Right now, this is a very limited pilot program, so spaces apparently will fill up fast. Oh man, I'm sure there's a lot of opinions on that. Not sure I would have liked dogs and cats running around in my dorm. But hey, I don't know. It might work out. I'm Johnny Connor. This has been 4 Things to Know. We are here with the news you need every weekday afternoon by 3 o'clock. Thanks so much for listening this week. We'll talk to you on Monday. Have a good weekend, everybody.
Listen to 4 Things to Know, a WCCO daily news podcast, wherever you get your podcasts.